That's what I was telling the team after the game. It's just you don't see that very often, and I think we played extremely well, certainly Monday night, and I don't necessarily consider ourselves to be 41 points better than Lock Haven. I mean, they're a much improved team, and a team that probably should have beaten Edinburgh a month ago when they played them at home, and just kind of blew it down the stretch a little bit and ended up losing in overtime. And of course, I think about a week after that, they lost at Cal by 3 points, or it was down to a one-possession game at the end of the game. So certainly that had our attention. And then there's probably an element of human nature that you let up a little bit after it was so easy the other night, and everything we were doing worked well and we were clicking. And so a little bit flat, I thought, to start the game. We weren't horrible defensively. It was just we weren't making shots, and it's kind of hard to get any kind of a lead of any magnitude if you're not making shots. And in the first half alone, we were 5 of 20 from 2. A good deal of those misses were right around the rim, and we obviously shot it much better in the second half, and 50% overall. I thought the other thing that was big was getting to the foul line, and again, a lot of that, of course, was Caitlin Marshall, but 11 of 12 in the second half is outstanding. And there was actually a stretch in the beginning of the second half where I think all 5 of the fouls on the defensive end that Lock Haven had committed were all because of Caitlin. And the foul, a term we use is foul pressure, and she took a charge. But she took 3 for the game total. I'm talking about the second half, and that little stretch of the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, Caitlin single-handedly, caused Lock Haven to foul her 6 times. So, you got to have different players step up when you've got either people that are in foul trouble or people that were struggling, and Caitlin certainly gave us a huge lift offensively. And I thought the other thing that we had, too, is you got to have some different people doing things maybe a little bit unexpected. I thought, Liz Kane getting that and one was a big play. I think that really kind of got us going, because I don't remember exactly what the score was at the time, but it was still, maybe a 10, 11-point game or so, if I remember correctly. But so I thought that was a huge play in terms of the momentum, and she played really well Monday night, and I thought did a lot of good things again tonight, just some energy plays, and then Erica Ullman comes off the bench, knocks down 3 threes. I thought that was big as well, and then, as I said, kind of some unusual stats, if you will, is having your point guard get 8 defensive rebounds like Lacey did, and she didn't necessarily, we didn't need her to score a whole lot, just kind of run the team and rebound and defend like she did, and so that was certainly encouraging. So, and in a night that wasn't necessarily our best night offensively, we still come away with 72 points, win by 20, and a couple of the categories that I always, of course, look at are points off turnovers and points in the paint. We ended up winning both of those convincingly, and oddly enough, in the first half, points in the paint was Lock Haven 10 and IUP 6. So, we ended up outscoring them 24-8 in the second half alone. So that was huge too.
Liz Kane's and one came, y'all was up 37-34.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It was really okay. So we were only up 3, and she gets that and one, and then I don't know what the run ended up being, but it felt like it was like about a 20-4 run or so. I mean, I don't know exactly what it was, but we got off to a little bit of a slow start defensively. I think they scored on their first 4 trips up the floor that they had the ball, and then we buckled down and started getting stops. But again, an odd circumstance. I'm going to be playing somebody, and of course both teams were in the same boat. I mean, third game in 5 days. We actually gave our team the day off entirely yesterday, and by NCAA rule, you got to give them 1 day off, of course, during the week, and just felt like, as a coach, if I was going to err one way or the other, it was let's keep them fresh, for tonight's game. And, I don't know how much we would have done anyhow had we practiced yesterday as it is. So, and that's a little bit unusual. You never take a day off, before a game. But like I said, the circumstances were a little bit different.
Do you expect, you said, Lock Haven had been playing well and everything. Did you expect them to give you that tough of a game?
I did. Just because, I tell you what, if history teaches us anything, I remember last year we beat them really convincingly at their place the first time we played them, probably around 30 or so. And the game here was a struggle. I mean, I think we ended up winning by 10 or 12 points or something, if I remember correctly, last year. Again, that was the second time, and they had nothing to play for. I mean, it wasn't like they were on the verge of getting into the PSAC tournament, but they we outplayed them in the second half tonight. But I don't necessarily know that they didn't stop competing, by any means, and that shows some of the hustle stats. I mean, they were more or less even with us on the boards, and they shot 17 free throws. I mean, they still did a lot of good things. They just, we just shot a much better percentage from the field, obviously, in the second half than what they did.
Liz, she's been playing more lately, it seems, and she had the one real big play tonight.
Yep.
What have you seen from her lately to get her in?
Well, I think defensively, she does as good a job as anybody as we have in terms of pressuring the ball on the perimeter and just really active. I mean, and I was talking with Dr. Condino about this yesterday, and he of course sees us play, and he was at the Clarion game, and he said, to use a football analogy, she's got good hips. And when they talk about cornerbacks in football, they've got to be able to quickly turn and change direction and that kind of thing. And that's exactly what Liz has. I mean, she's really quick and good speed, obviously, as well, and pretty fearless. I mean, she's got some. She's had last couple of games, not necessarily tonight, but some breakaway situations where she got fouled hard and stepped up and made the free throws. And we're still working with her in terms of her being a little bit more comfortable at the point guard position, and of course that's a big reason why Lacey, we really have no choice. She has to play so many minutes. Just with Alex Vega, who continues to be out with her back problem. I mean, Liz is really the only player with some experience at that spot too. So
you mentioned Liz; she's the only player on your team not to draw any fouls tonight. Because there's a whole bunch of them. What do you think of the foul?
Well, I mean that shows you. Well, as we always talk about, I mean, you play defense with your feet, not with your hands, and Liz is a great example of that. And I thought, especially in the first half, it was tough to get in any kind of flow. We had 4 different players with 2 fouls, and so of course they're all on the bench, and so you're playing some unusual lineups. That we were kind of Aaron Withers had to play more posts than what she ever normally would, and that kind of thing. But that's great for Liz. I mean, that shows a lot to play 18 minutes and not commit a foul the entire time.
Shot 50% in the second half. You really sort of turned it on after
Great.
coming out of
I thought great ball movement. I thought we had some great passing too. I mean, and I don't know how many of those resulted in an assist. And it looks like 8. It felt like it was more than that because we had 7 assists in the first half. But I thought we did a nice job of making the extra pass, and I kind of reminded them of that at halftime. I said, that when we're at our best is when we're playing very unselfishly. We're always looking for somebody that has a better shot than that individual person who has the ball in their hands. And I thought we did a great job spreading the floor. Like I said, making the extra pass, whether it was a pass into the post, swinging it and getting somebody a wide open 3. I thought in the first half there were times where we were just kind of putting it on the floor and going into the teeth of the defense and trying to challenge 3 people. And meanwhile, there was somebody standing on the other side of the floor wide open. And again, it's not necessarily it's not a selfish thing. It's just you got to have the awareness and the vision that somebody else is a better shot than you do. And I thought we did a much better job just staying within the system. Not trying to play one-on-one basketball, and that's definitely not our thing. So I thought we did a great job with that. And we got. We forced some turnovers too and got some stops, and that led to some points in transition as well.
Withers didn't take a whole lot of threes tonight. She only took 1.
Yeah.
And she still had a pretty solid game overall. The team didn't take. I've noticed that when they pump fake a 3 and pass down in the paint, which that's what you worked on in practice.
It is. Yeah. Well, that was a big point of emphasis for the game. Going into Monday night and. Of course, everything worked well Monday night. We certainly weren't going to change what we were doing tonight, and that was a major point of emphasis for Monday night was pounded inside. And, for a couple of reasons. We got to get our post players involved, and Bree and Sarah and Bianca, we got to get them touches, around the rim and get them involved. The other thing that it does, too, is, as I say, it puts foul pressure on the opponent. The other night we shot 25 free throws, and that was a big part of it. And then finally, the third thing is when we watched the film of the Clarion game, we said, our best looks from 3 are after we kicked it inside first, and then our post players would kick it out and that kind of thing. So really, the same things we emphasized Monday, and we knew that Lockhaven actually played less zone tonight than what they normally do, and we felt like we had some size on them, and our post players typically are pretty good, so we wanted to keep kind of getting it in, and like I said, making that